This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
Welcome to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, episode number 19. Your host, myself, Ryan Wolf, and Mr. Perez. We are back in the studio this time, healthy as much as we possibly can be. We're not coughing and vomiting, so
No.
that's a positive. But
I did earlier today, but I'm a lot better than I was last week.
yeah,
Where I was just on death's door, basically. It was not fun.
no, we talked about it before we got in the air, and it does not sound fun at all. I mean, last week I was trying to talk, and it felt like someone had a glass in my throat. So I'm sitting here talking, and I'm trying to finish a sentence,
Right.
and I'm just losing my voice as the sentence is finishing, and this is perfect for a podcast.
Right. Yeah, I couldn't even speak last week. It was ridiculous. So, but with that being said, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
I did. I hope you did as well.
I did not. I got really sick on Thanksgiving Day.
I didn't know that was when you started getting sick.
Yep, that's
Well,
when I
that
started
sucks.
getting sick. So,
I just figured you got sick on the weekend because
nope.
we usually shoot texts back and forth during the week, but I didn't know that you got sick on Thanksgiving. That
Oh,
sucks.
dude, I was out of it. I was on my parents' couch, sweating with a 102-degree fever under blankets, and yeah, it was not fun. I was supposed to do some cooking that day too.
At least you didn't have to hang out with your family if you were sick. You know?
No, I like my family though.
Well, I know, but I do too. But after a while, you could
Right.
just be like, I need to just go take a few minutes. And
Oh, it was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I showed up I'm not feeling that well, and then an hour and a half later, I was done.
that's kind of how I've been lately. Where it's kind of like you get the sign from your body's like, hey, you might want to take it. Like this morning when I told you I woke up, I just didn't feel good. And my body was like, you might want to take it easy.
Right.
So I just came in here and shut the door and turned something on my computer and just watched TV and just
There you
hung
go.
out until I felt better. And we're here now. We're like I said, we're breathing,
We're gonna get this done.
2 feet on the ground,
Right.
ready to talk some sports. And going to jump in head first this week. Martin Brodeur, future Hall of Famer, longtime New Jersey Devil, signed a 1-year deal with the St. Louis Blues this week. Besides it being completely weird to see Martin Brodeur in a St. Louis Blues jersey,
Right.
it's like one of those sports legends like your Joe Namath or something like that, where they play their whole career and make a name for themselves with a team, and then they say, well, we still want to play.
Right.
So they go
Another team.
to another team.
Joe Montana.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who else.
Let's see. Joe Montana did it. Everyone thought that Peyton Manning should have retired, but he's been doing really well with Denver.
But that doesn't seem so weird though. Like I thought.
He was a Colt forever, bro.
But I thought it would be like when Montana left San Francisco, went to Kansas City. You're like, that's awkward.
Yeah, that was awkward.
Martin Brodeur from New Jersey to St. Louis is awkward.
Emmitt Smith did it.
Yeah, when he went to Arizona just to keep running and getting records. And sometimes some guys, like in Martin Brodeur's case, they just don't want to go out. They don't want to be told,
Right.
you can't do this anymore.
Right.
If Brodeur can't do it, he wants to see the proof in the pudding, if you will.
Right.
And the first game wasn't good. You know,
Right.
he let up 4 goals and lost the game.
Yeah, it might be time for him to hang up the skates.
But the thing you can tell, it's on paper. You can tell what he's going for. He's 12 wins away from 700 in his career.
Oh,
He
yeah.
already owns the most wins in hockey history,
Right.
but why not be
700?
Why not be the first guy to go
Right.
to 700? That would be a pretty sweet thing to do. Now, speaking of shocking things and also weird things, the Philadelphia 76ers won their first game of the season.
Good job, Philly.
We need like a hallelujah rate.
Right. But they won at 17
Yeah,
Good
they
job.
were 1-17 at the time.
at the time. Right.
Now they are 1-18.
Yes.
They lost after they won, so they couldn't start a win streak. But
It's awesome.
they lost their first 17 games by an average of 14.4 points per game. That's pretty bad.
That's bad.
They avoided the worst start ever, which is 0-18 or 0-17. I apologize. Wait, no, 1-17.
I think it was 0-18.
It was. I'm trying to do the mathematics. I'm sorry. I should have wrote the number down. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. You're welcome. Like I said, we're still not completely healthy here in the Better Live Than Dead podcast, but we're in quarantine. We're doing fine. They avoided the worst start ever by the 2009-2010 Nets by 1 loss. Like I said, they're 1-18. They played the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are getting back in the swing of things at 6-13 themselves, because Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant are back. We were going to talk a little about that, but I figured I'd give it some time because I felt like, and to kind of go off the 76ers, because there's nothing really to mention about the 76ers. They got lucky. Minnesota shot like crap. They won 85-77.
But that's not true, though. The 76ers have two of their young talent injured. They actually have several people that are not healthy right now. And their drafts are not. They're all injured. So without those guys, I mean, they're going to struggle.
Well, we know what they're trying to do. They're trying to do what the Buffalo Sabres are trying to do. They're trying to position themselves.
I heard you guys are a little win streak too,
yeah,
Buffalo Sabres.
They won 6-7 and then they lost 5-0. So we'll see what happens tonight.
Hey, at least you won 6-7.
Well, that only puts them in 26th place,
right?
So it's not.
You're in danger of not getting that first draft pick.
Hey, it's only December. It's only December. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm enjoying it while I can because there's going to come a stretch of hockey where they lose 8-9 or 9-10, and then you're like, "Oh, this is
like 10-10."
They are who we thought they were, to quote a famous coach.
We let them off the hook.
Exactly. But the 76ers, they're trying to position themselves as best as they possibly can in the draft because the best way to win the NBA with this current day and age of superstardom. Of superstars just kind of going on one team like your Cavaliers or the Big Three with the Heat a couple for the past couple years,
which was completely against the NBA bargaining agreement.
Yeah, it was. You can't.
But no one wants to talk about that.
You can't collude, but because LeBron James won a championship, nobody cares. But the 76ers have a few good stars on their team. Michael Carter-Williams, that's his name, right?
Yes.
I don't want to get it wrong. So. I'm pretty sure that's it. He played Syracuse. I know. I'm not a big basketball guy. I like the Hornets. Okay, I'm getting back in the swing of things. I do. I'm a big Hornets fan.
Nice.
I just actually enjoyed that game last night where, I should say
that was a good game.
Game
on
Friday night.
Layup.
Where Kemba beat the Knicks, and there's also another video going around the internet where Jose Calderon thought he had a 3-pointer. And he goes to go up to shoot it, and Kemba just out of nowhere just comes and smacks out his hand into the crowd.
I saw that one. That was good.
Dying laughing.
Yeah.
But for Brodeur of the Blues and the 76ers, it's weird. You guys are weird. Keeping it weird for us. Thanks. I appreciate it because I don't know what I would do without weirdness in sports. And that's those two right there certainly take the cake this week.
Right.
I just don't. I'm lost for words now. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I don't think Brodeur to the Blues will work out, but we'll find out because they're.
But you know what? If he gets to 12 wins,
if he gets to 12 wins, he doesn't give a damn.
He doesn't, right?
But either way, if he doesn't, if he does or he doesn't, he'll at least find out. He'll have the closure on his career.
Right.
And I shouldn't have done that, or I was done. Brian Elliott, their actual starting goaltender, is injured for I think 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. So he's going to get a shot.
Right.
The guy's got a knee injury, so Brodeur will get a good shot, and Jake Allen's young. They're trying to. He's a rookie, so they're trying to get him into the swing of things in the National Hockey League. But like I said, we'll find out what happens.
We'll see.
The Blues are a good team. They just are struggling.
It'll still. I'm gonna have to check out a game because it'll be really weird seeing him in a Blues jersey.
I watched the highlights and I saw some pictures, and I was just, it's not, doesn't seem normal.
Right.
But then again. At the end of the day, sports are a business, and to tie everything together, sports are a business, and what's best for business? Winning. So why do the 76ers tank? Because they get superstars, and then they win. They've got a lot of good guys so far.
Basketball is one of those games where you really depend upon some key, crucial players. Like, you can't put a bunch of pretty good players on a team and expect to win.
You can't do what the Tampa Bay Rays did a few years ago when they got to the World Series with a handful of guys who there's one good guy.
Baseball's a little different, though. You play your role properly in baseball, you can win pretty well. But if you don't play your role, like LeBron James right now, you end up on a team that's kind of struggling.
Or if you're a point guard that never passes the ball, your team's gonna
be bad. He's good though.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving's good. He's just a ball hog.
Well, he's selfish because what has he had before LeBron James? Himself.
Right.
With that being said, our weird segment. I don't know if I'm not going to call it the weird segment, but it's the kind of the You Kept It Weird. I know that's another podcast out there, but sports have to be weird to enjoy them, to be fun. There's little quirky things. It's like when you meet that chick and you're like, there's some reason I like her. I'm not sure what it is, and you find out she's into something that you think is a little weird, and you're like, that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Or just that? Yes, just yes.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking. The look on your face tells me you know what I'm talking about.
Of course, I know what you're talking about.
When we come back from these commercial breaks, we're going to talk some Major League Baseball.
Baseball.
3 big deals that have come across the board this week. Signings, not trades, but we will talk more about that here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast. While you're listening to this podcast, make sure you follow us on social media. You can follow me at WolfSHC on Twitter. You can also follow Mr. Perez at MRLG Perez. Make sure to like the podcast on Facebook. That's facebook.com/BLTD podcast. And make sure to follow Gear Network on Twitter at GERE Network.
A successful product does not become a successful product on its own. Look at the Gear Radio Network, for example. We're a prime example. We had a lot of help getting here, and we can help you get where you want to go to. Advertising rates are very low to start off here on the Gear Radio Network. Visit us at gearnetwork.com. Click on the contact link to send us an email, and we can work out the details. Again, advertise your product across all of the forums at a low, low rate here on the Gear Radio Network.
Better Live Than Dead podcast.
Hello.
I think this is the second segment I've said welcome back. We're very happy to be back. That's why I keep saying welcome back. Because last week, I know my buddy Chris Downey from Newberry College joined me to talk some football.
Good.
It was nice to have someone because at that point my voice was
shot.
Was sandpaper, and I'm just like growling over here into the microphone.
Nice.
So I'm glad to have you back. Glad to be back in studio. Glad to be able to talk some Major League Baseball this week. The first big deal that came across the board, outfielder Torrey Hunter returning to Minnesota on a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. Now, on the surface, I thought this was going to be, he'll come back, he'll say, I'm going to finish my career here, has a great first half, then they send him somewhere at the deadline and get some more stuff back.
Right.
But, the deal comes with a no-trade clause.
Oh, really?
So it appears to me that Torrey Hunter, and he has said this too, he said, I'm coming home.
Right.
He wants to be the guy to mentor the kids, to show the kids how to play the game the right way, and right now Minnesota needs that kind of guy.
Yes.
There's a few good kids that aren't going to be in Rochester right now, like Byron Buxton, for instance. He won't be in Rochester, or he won't be in, I keep saying Rochester, he won't be in Minnesota right now. He may end up in Rochester at some point in time this year,
right.
But Torrey Hunter will get to work with him in spring training. He'll get to show these kids the in and out of how you got to play the game.
Which is what they need.
Exactly. How to conduct yourself on and off the field.
Mentor.
And he'll bring something to the table
right
during the season as well. He's no slouch. He's a pretty good fielder. I mean, obviously he's a little older, so his glory days are past him. But he's still got a decent bat. I mean, and the interesting thing to me is that he's returning after 7 years of being gone. He went to L.A. to play for the Anaheim Angels, then he came to Detroit.
Yep.
Played 97 to 2007 for Minnesota.
Okay.
So it'd be interesting to see it happen again. It's kind of a bit nostalgic. Hopefully it works out for him. I mean, they're not going to be a great team this year under first-year manager Paul Molitor, but
Paul Molitor is a good manager.
I know
if any team has an opportunity to possibly be better underneath the first-year manager, it would be under Paul Molitor.
He knows baseball.
He does.
He's 3,000 hits. He's been in the Twins organization for a little while. Worked his way up the ranks, and the thing about him. To get a little bit off topic here for a second, it seems that a big part of the reason why he got the job was because the guys in the clubhouse spoke very highly of the relationship he has with the players.
Right.
And if Perez, you and I both know this from years of watching baseball, it doesn't matter how good your team is, if you can get a group of 25 guys to buy into what a manager is selling.
Look at the Kansas City Royals.
Exactly. If you can buy if your guys buy what he's selling, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
The talent level, you guys will do something special. And something special may not be winning the World Series, but something special may be, hey,
playoffs.
We were going to finish dead last in the league, but hey, we won 85 games because there's just something good going on here.
Right.
Now, moving on to the next big deal of the week, Nick Markakis, Baltimore Orioles outfielder, had his option declined, and most people thought that he would re-sign in Baltimore for less money, which would be understandable. That would not be the case. He has agreed to a deal, 4 years and $44 million worth of reported numbers with the Atlanta Braves. He spent 9 years in Baltimore. His career batting average is .290. Hit 141 home runs and 658 RBIs. Baltimore, like I said, wanted to re-sign him, but they were very hesitant on going a fourth year. Now, the interesting thing about this is that not the Baltimore Orioles, the Atlanta Braves have a right fielder. They have Justin Upton. So this tells me, Perez, they're going all in on the rebuild, and they will be most likely trading Justin Upton.
Probably.
Now, the interesting thing about that one is Justin Upton has been rumored to be possibly dealt to the Oakland Athletics for a few weeks. The Athletics are really hot on the trail. The thing about that would be good for Upton going to Oakland. First off,
just a few weeks.
I think Markakis going to Atlanta could be a good deal for a team rebuilding. He could be a guy that helps bring them out of the funk and leads them back into the light, because they were good for a long time, very long time under Bobby Cox, and Freddie Gonzalez came in and things kind of started to scuffle a little, and they were just deciding to turn things around. But the thing that's interesting about Justin Upton is he's a very talented player, but he's already if he gets traded by Atlanta, that's two teams that have traded this young talent, and you kind of have to wonder, like, why do they keep doing this? But Oakland, for some reason, feels that because they've struggled to make the World Series the past couple of years, that they kind of need to have like a mini blow-up rebuild.
Right.
Which they've already made a big deal, and they're looking for more big deals. They've already, like last week it was, yes. I spoke about Josh Donaldson to Toronto. Yeah. That's a pretty big deal, but that's more or less selling high, getting rid of a guy when his value's the biggest, because you're not going to re-sign him anyway. Right. It's Oakland. Oakland never re-signs guys for big money.
No.
So it would be interesting to see.
Which may be part of the problem, Oakland.
Yeah, well, the problem is the ownership, that they won't give Billy Beane the money, so Billy Beane's got to go with his Moneyball mantra and find the best in what he can find. But, I mean, Justin Upton would probably be a very good addition to that lineup. They've got a great pitching staff. They've got a great rotation, bullpen, all that stuff. I just repeated myself saying they got a great pitching staff and I went over it, but you get the idea. Everything about them is good in pitching. And then the lineup is kind of... The reason they have such strong pitching is because they focus on pitching, because their hitting is not... They can't count on their hitting as much as they count on their pitching.
Right.
So, maybe...
I've never been an Oakland fan, I gotta be honest.
They're always interesting to watch.
They're interesting to watch, but I've never been a fan. I don't know why.
I've been a fan of Billy Beane for a while, just because you like the way he does business, and then obviously with the Red Sox, they took his Moneyball sabermetrics idea and then won the World Series in 2004 with it. So it's been kind of interesting to see and pick his brain to see how he does things. But in terms of Oakland, I mean, I could really honestly care less.
Yeah, me too. I don't know why.
I like the Red Sox, so I could care less about Oakland.
Yeah, well, I care less about the Red Sox.
The thing about Oakland, watch your mouth, first off. The thing I don't like about Oakland is that when the Red Sox play in Oakland, I always have to stay up till like 2 a.m. to watch the game.
Oh,
it's the same way with you and the Yankees. You got to stay up till 2 a.m.
I stay up to 2 a.m. now anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. I'm not a pansy.
Me too. I stay up till 3 a.m. I'll watch the game and then I'll sit on Twitter and complain about it, and then you're like, "Why am I still awake at 3 a.m.?" It's like, "Oh, because the game pissed me off," and then this is what happens. This is the life of a sports fan, friends. This is we sit up. I sit up all night and complain about things on Twitter, and then I go to bed and wake up the next day and complain some more. And that's why you should follow us on Twitter.
That's right.
At WolfSHC, at Mr. MRLG Perez.
Yep.
Cheap plug.
MRLG Perez.
Cheap plug. Cheap plug for
That's
the
tight.
week. Moving on now. Speaking of the New York Yankees and the Boston Red
Sox.
Yankees. Ex-Boston Red Sox. Ex-Baltimore Oriole relief pitcher Andrew Miller, one of the best in the game, if I may say so myself, has signed a reported 4-year, $36 million contract, $9 million a year straight through, no bonuses, no opt-out, all that stuff. The interesting thing about this is that the Red Sox were in on him because they wanted him back. Why not? But the Red Sox got the Orioles' 4th best prospect for him. The Houston Astros were in on him. They were reportedly, I think, a couple $1 million off. But Andrew Miller wanted to stay on the East Coast because his parents live in Florida. They want to be able to watch the games. He wanted them to be able to see the games.
Right.
They're saying right now on the surface that he'll set up and close, depending on the situation, between him and Dellin Betances, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Yes.
Okay.
Something like that.
It's
weird.
Everybody sets it different. I've watched the guy play a few times. He's
a beast.
He throws fire, just straight fire, but everyone pronounces his name differently. But they said, there's not going to really be, at the moment, a closer per se. It's going to be one guy sets up, one guy closes, depending on...
Well, Delta Perez, he's still a real young talent. He's got some growing to do. But I was watching one of the games last year, where he struck out like 4 in a row, and he was throwing high 90s, low 100s. I mean, I think he put 101 on the gun, 4 times in a row.
And that's why they want to make him the closer, because it's like with Aroldis Chapman. You can get a guy who can go out and give you consistently 97, 98, or you can get for 4 or 5 innings.
Yankees got a couple guys that are, young and throw like that.
Yeah, well, you can get, like I said, you can get the guy that comes in and throws that consistent, 95 to 97, or you can get him in the bullpen and you get an inning out of him, and he can throw 101 and be difficult to hit.
Now we just need some good starting pitchers.
Well, and they said that's what they're looking for, but here's the deal with Miller, first off. His slider is just untouchable. He's got a career .241 batting average against left-handed batters, and in 703 plate appearances against lefties, because he is a lefty. That's why I'm pointing it out, I should say. 703 career plate appearances against left-handed pitchers. He's got 214 strikeouts.
That's not bad.
He's averaged at least a 14.1 strikeout per 9 in the past 2 years. So he does certainly rack up the strikeouts.
Right.
Like I said, he's more of a situational guy. He's gotten to the point lately where, I remember when he came to Boston and they were trying to start him, they were trying to relieve him, and then out of all the people in the world, Bobby Valentine said, no, we're going to put you in the bullpen, you're going to be a reliever, and that's when his career turned around. He was a top pick for the Tigers, I think back in 2006, ended up pitching in the World Series for the Tigers, kind of messed up his career because he didn't really know if he was going to be a starter or reliever. They couldn't really put their thumb on what they wanted. Then the Red Sox ended up with him, and he ended up going to, I think, Florida, pitched in Miami for the Marlins, I want to say, and then ended up in Boston. And like I said, he's developed into one of the best situational relievers. I mean, but he's gotten better with facing righties, and last year he was damn near untouchable. So it was a very risky pickup by the Yankees, spending $36 million on a relief pitcher, the biggest contract ever in free agency for a non-closer as a reliever. Right. But if he can come out and hit his numbers, continue to hit the same numbers he's hit, it might not be a bad pickup.
Yeah, no, we need something like that. The Yankees do. I mean, as long as they don't, like I said, we need good starting pitching. As long as they don't try to turn one of these guys into a starting pitcher, a la Jabba Chamberlain, and ruin them, So they need the good setup people. They need the good closers. Now we just need to go get some starting pitching.
Well, as you've seen in the past couple of years, I mean, if you can...
bats. We need some bats.
If you can make the game 6 or 7 innings, or if you're not leading by the 7th inning, game's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's how Kansas City did it for most of the year. Was if you can't get a lead on Kansas City by the 6th or 7th inning, you're done.
You're done.
Because you're not going to hit those guys. And that's what it seems like the Yankees are trying to do, because you can steal a few more wins and maybe get in the playoffs if you've got a good back end of the bullpen. Now, the interesting thing, like you said, is if they can get some starting pitchers. I know the Red Sox are trying to do the same. It seems like the American League East is loading back up. Happens every couple of years.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out for everybody.
No.
Like usually Toronto, which is why I get a kick out of Toronto loading up again, because every time they've done it the past 5 or 6 years, it hasn't really worked out for them. So we'll see what happens. And the interesting thing too is Tampa's kind of lurking in the weeds, because they just hired Kevin Cash to be their general manager, or their head coach, not their general manager. Their actual manager, not head coach. Don't ever call a baseball coach a head coach. He'll curse you out.
Yeah.
It's manager.
Their manager.
Excuse me. Kevin Cash, I think he's 34.
He's young.
Yeah, he played baseball for the Red Sox, played for a few more teams. Actually, I remember in Rochester, I went to go ask him for an autograph when I was a kid, and he told my brother and myself, I'm on the phone, hold on, got in the bus, never came back out.
What a scrub.
What an asshole that guy is.
See, I wasn't going to say anything like that.
I feel very passionately about this.
I see that.
There's a lot of people that are nice. That are like, hey, you're cool. Let's autographs, whatever. That guy's just
he's a douche.
You can swear if you want to.
No, I typically don't swear anyway. But I mean, the podcast, I thought we were adhering to radio rules.
We can adhere to radio rules. I can bleep it out.
I know, I'm just playing, but it's cool.
I can.
This is I did a private bodyguard work once for DMC.
Okay.
And at the end of the concert, they came out and there was a hot dog guy, like one of the hot dog vendors, outside of the venue, and not Run, but the other rapper, can't remember his name off the top of my head right now.
DMC?
Yeah, DMC, because the DJ was someone else. He walked up to the hot dog vendor, ordered like 6 hot dogs and like 5 Italian sausages for people on the bus. The guy gave it to him, he was like, thanks, and just got on the bus.
What?
Didn't even pay, bro. Didn't even pay. So that was kind of like that. He was like, I'm on the phone.
Yeah, and
no autograph for you.
He was a dick about it too. Yeah.
DMC was like, thanks for the free food. The hot dog vendor turned to me and was like, yo, I was like, hey, at least it was someone famous. He was like, true.
At least you got stiffed by DMC. I mean, that's a good story. That's stuff like that's nice. But
I wasn't going to pay for it.
You don't forget stuff like that though.
No.
Like when I'm a kid, you know, I'm just trying to enjoy collecting autographs and having fun with it and meeting baseball players. And this guy's
I got some. When I was private bodyguarding, I got some funny stories. Want me to tell you a story about Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg?
I'm listening.
That was a good. Okay, so I did the last time they were in Rochester, New York, for the last Up in Smokes tour. They obviously always have their own bodyguards, but then they hire local bodyguards.
Yeah.
So me and my boy got hired to do the job through the company we worked for, and so we basically chilled with Snoop and Dre all day. And like M was there, Ice Cube was there. It was really cool to like hang out with these cats. So after the concert, they were doing they all went to a particular club, and that club had a VIP lounge. And so Snoop handed me a G, like $100. I'm sorry, $1,000, all in hundreds, and was like, go tell the owner we want the VIP lounge all to ourselves. So I was like, all right, I'll go take care of that. He handed me $1,000. So I walked up to the club owner and I was like, yo, they want the VIP. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $600. And the guy was like, all right, I'll go take care of that right now. So I kept the $400. Got myself a little payday that night.
That's a great story.
Oh yeah, it was pretty funny.
We should have we should do that. We should have like a story session every week. Just give us another story.
Oh,
I tell you what, I've known you for a long time, and there's every time I say tell a story, it's always a new story.
Oh, dude, I got some stories, man.
That's great.
I've lived a crazy life.
Moral of the story is don't be a asshole, Kevin Cash.
Right.
And now he works for the Tampa Rays. So even if I did like him, I don't like him now.
Right.
I mean, because Joe Madden kind of ruined it for everybody. Like when Tampa was bad, you're like, it's like your little brother. You're like, oh, that's adorable. Keep on trying, keep on.
Right.
But then Joe Madden comes in and he's like, hey man, we just got like a giraffe in our locker room today, and I'm gonna go play cards with a snake or something. It's like, no, stop it.
Right.
Cut it out.
That's funny.
So now Tampa Bay, I just could care less. I actually, I mentioned last year, and it'll probably change now that Tampa's bad again.
Right.
Because when a team's bad, like when the Yankees were bad or when the Red Sox were bad, the rivalry kind of dies down.
Yeah.
So I still hate the Yankees a lot. I would have to say I hate Tampa Bay more because there's been a lot more crap between the Red Sox and Tampa. But I'm sure that will change because once the Red Sox just start running over Tampa Bay.
Right.
I
can't say there's a team I hate more than Boston. Sorry.
The only team I hate more than the Yankees is Tampa, and it's a 1A 1B type deal. It's not like 1, 2, 3. It's 1A 1B Tampa New York.
Right.
But that's natural though.
I hear you.
I mean, I don't hate Baltimore that much. I don't like Baltimore because they're in the East. I don't like Toronto, but again, you don't. When there's a villain or there's a rival in your life.
Right.
If they don't pose a threat to you, you're like
whatever. Exactly.
Okay.
Right.
I'm sure you're going to beat us. But when they actually do beat you a lot, you're like, those bastards.
Right.
But anyways, back to the baseball talk. I'll tell you what, man. It's like we're like when you put a dog in a crate for a couple hours, you let them out, they run around in circles crazy. That's like us. If we don't get in the studio, in the Wolf Den, and get to talk sports, you're just going to get a podcast where we're going to start at point A and end up at point X over across the other way.
Right.
By way of going in diagonals and circles and squares and stuff.
It's okay.
It's a podcast. It's supposed to be fun. If we're not having fun, if we're not laughing our asses off by the end of the podcast, we're doing something wrong.
Sometimes you need to break up the monotony. You need those little stories, you know.
I mean, no one cares that Andrew Miller signed with the Yankees.
Right.
I care more that you pocketed $400 of Snoop Dogg's money.
It was awesome.
That's a great story.
Thanks, Snoop.
That's a great story.
Appreciate that.
That's a great story. When we get back from commercial break here on the Better Alive Than Dead podcast, we've got a very interesting topic to talk about. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to cliffhanger. I'm just going to say, stick around.
Stick around
for more of the Better Alive Than Dead podcast right after these messages.
This free and independent sportscast is made possible when you shop the Gear Network store through Amazon. Visit GearNetwork.com and click on the Amazon banner to shop through Amazon's thousands of products at great prices delivered right to your front door. Again, that's GearNetwork.com and click the Amazon banner at the top. John Cimino here, a.k.a. JC Money, inviting you all of you listeners, to join us on the Gear Radio Network once a week for Get Ready America, where JC and DC, the executive producer, my co-host Don Cimino, will be talking news, sports, whatever comes to our mind. It's a variety show that goes all over the place. It's awesome. You should check it out on Gear Network every week.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. We're here. Back. Better Alive Than Dead podcast, talking National Football League.
NFL.
Interesting thing to talk about this week. Last week, the Buffalo Bills played the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, they did.
In that game.
Yes, they did.
Quarterback Brian Hoyer was pulled.
For which was interesting, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I have some statistics to back it up why he was pulled, but Johnny Football, Johnny Vegas, Johnny Texas A&M, whatever the hell you want to call that idiot. Yeah, whatever you want to call him.
Sorry.
John Manziel, you're fine. It's your first curse word on the podcast. We got another hallelujah moment on the podcast. Perez cursed on the podcast today, everybody. Johnny Manziel comes in for Brian Hoyer, scores his first National Football League touchdown. Didn't do much else other than that, but that instantly sparks a debate. ESPN, you got them all jerking each other off on the air about Manziel. He ran up the middle and scored a touchdown. That's because the Bills' game plan for Brian Hoyer didn't game plan for Johnny Manziel.
Right.
The next drive after Manziel ran for the touchdown, what happened? Oh, that's right.
He got sacked.
He got sacked in
the end zone.
It was a touchdown, but they called it a forward pass. But whatever.
His arm was coming forward, though.
Well, his arm was coming forward, but then he reset and it got smacked out.
Yeah, not that I want to defend Johnny Manziel, but
the interesting thing about it, though, is that Brian Hoyer. First off, let me say this was pointed out by @DogsByNature on Twitter, which is the Cleveland Browns SB Nation blog. Pointed out that Brian Hoyer has led the Browns to one touchdown in their last 47 drives.
That's not good.
So he's struggling as the quarterback of the team, but he's got them to 7-5 this season.
Right.
They're I think a game and a half out because the Cincinnati Bengals are 8-3-1.
Yes.
So it's whatever. But they're in the playoff. They're in the wild card hunt. We'll put it that way. They're in the wild card hunt. So he got him there. The other thing I wanted to point out to you, Perez, before I get your thoughts on this one. ESPN's Adam Schefter says, and I quote, "The Browns have used 20 different starting quarterbacks since the Browns moved back to Cleveland in 1999. Brian Hoyer at 10-5 is the only one with a winning record.
Good for Brian Hoyer.
The second closest guy, Jake Delhomme. His record is 2-2.
Jake Delhomme.
Mind you,
I'm going back there for that one.
Speaking of going back, let me just list these 19 other quarterbacks.
Let's do it.
Excuse me. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Tim Couch.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he played for them.
Ty Detmer.
Okay, yeah.
Doug Peterson.
Okay.
Spurgeon Wynn.
Who?
Kelly Holcomb. Jeff Garcia.
Oh, yeah. Jeff did not play well for them.
Luke McCown.
Okay.
Trent Dilfer.
Okay.
Charlie Fry.
Overrated.
Derek Anderson. Wasn't bad, but he played good, but the record didn't show.
No.
Brady Quinn.
Oh, yeah.
Ken Dorsey.
Ken Dorsey.
Bruce Gradkowski.
Who?
Colt McCoy.
Poor Colt.
As the aforementioned Jake Delhomme. Seneca Wallace. Brandon Whedon. Thad Lewis.
Thad.
And Jason Campbell. Also, something interesting to point out, which I thought was mind-blowing. Since 2001, 13 years, a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns has not started all 16 games in 13 years.
That's not good.
That's hard to do.
That's pretty bad.
That is very hard to do.
Inconsistency does not make a great winning team.
There's inconsistency at quarterback, inconsistency at coach, personnel, staff, players. Everything about the Cleveland Browns is inconsistent. Brian Hoyer has shown some signs of life. Now, mind you, this whole season until this week, 2 weeks ago, Josh Gordon has been out, his top receiver.
Right.
Jordan Cameron, another top receiver, tight end, has been out on and off all season with a concussion problem.
Right.
And you're going to tell me you're going to take the guy to put Johnny Manziel in, who's played in... he's before last week attempted one pass in his National Football League career.
Now, yes.
He's going to get the chance to start. He's a first-round pick. But, and I'm dominating this. I'll give you a second. I'll give you some talk in a second, I promise. But Brian Hoyer is a free agent at the end of the season. He's got you this far. Give him the chance to
finish
put up or shut up.
Right, exactly.
If he sucks, let him go. If he's good, keep him. What's the worst that's going to happen? Oh, God, you're going to win a couple football games?
Yeah, I don't really see Brian Hoyer being a good fit anyplace else. He's a decent quarterback. I don't know if he's worthy enough to start in a lot of other places. Well, maybe Oakland.
Well, he might end up...
But Carr is young. He needs to be given some time.
You look at the places...
Maybe Jacksonville.
I'm thinking Arizona. He could go back to Arizona because of the head coach out there, Bruce Arians.
Yeah. I don't know if Hoyer's a good fit with Arizona.
You never know.
I don't know.
Because Bruce Arians, I feel like that would be a good fit. That's a lot of people were talking about Arizona could be a good fit for Hoyer.
Toughie. That's a tough one for
Josh McDaniels. If Josh McDaniels leaves for another NFL job, which I highly doubt that happens because he's not a good head coach, Hoyer could go there.
Right.
But I really think he could come to Buffalo.
Right.
I mean, anywhere that you kind of need to stop.
He might be all right with Buffalo. Buffalo.
But for now, he's a Cleveland Browns quarterback. What do you think about this move? About keeping the ineffective Brian Hoyer in at starting quarterback over John Manziel?
I think he gives you the best opportunity to win at this point. You know, Johnny Manziel came in, and that very first drive, I'll admit it, he looked pretty good that first drive. He looked decent. Second drive, not so much. Didn't quite work out for him. You know,
well, that's like I told you, the Bills had adjusted to they realized what they had.
Yeah, but he's still young. He still has some growing to do. I don't think he'll ever be a real dominant NFL style quarterback. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Like, you ran in for the touchdown. Bully on you. Good job. But then you throw up the stupid money sign. And you know what? You know what people are not going to want to see? You throwing up the money sign all the time.
Well, then you watch, if you're watching sorry to interrupt you, Perez, but on the money sign thing, you watch on CBS when they show Johnny Manziel, the thing he taped, he does that stupid goddamn money thing.
Right.
Nobody cares, Johnny Manziel.
And then, like, the next drive when he got... I'm not a Bills fan by any stretch of the imagination. But when he got sacked and almost caused the touchdown, fumble touchdown, then, like, all the Buffalo Bill fans were, like, throwing up the money sign.
Oh,
it was hilarious. I laughed really hard.
And that's what's going to happen.
Yes.
It always, like, when Cam Newton was doing the Superman thing,
whatever,
and then the Panthers are getting their ass kicked, everyone's doing it. Right?
Yeah. And that's what's going on. Like, I would love to see a dude come straight up the middle, no one block him, just decleat the hell out of Johnny Manziel, and then stand over him and do the money sign. I'll take the 15-yard taunting penalty. I don't even care, but I will do it. Like, I'll money sign right over you. Like, he needs to grow up. His whole crew just got into a fight in a bar, in a club. Grow up. Exactly. You're now making millions of dollars. You're not in college anymore. I understand you're, 21, 22 years old?
He actually just turned 22 today, so happy birthday, fucker.
Yeah, happy birthday, scrub. And you know what? Here's what people don't realize about Johnny Manziel, is that he's a rich, spoiled brat. Mm-hmm. He comes from money.
Comes from money that comes from money that comes from money. Right. I read all the stories, yeah.
So, he comes from money. And so he's probably never had anyone tell him, like, stop being a little...
Or just say no.
Right.
He's never heard the word no.
Exactly. Now, if he wants to hang out with me, he'll hear no a lot.
Yeah.
You know, because I'll tell him the truth about himself.
Well, here's the deal.
But
I think he can be a good quarterback in the National Football League. But right now, at this point in time...
Not so much.
December 2014, he's unpolished, he's raw. There's a ton of talent there.
Yes. And there's a ton of talent coming up.
Exactly.
I mean, there's some quarterbacks right now in the NCAA that are phenomenal.
Future Jets quarterback Marcus Mariota.
Yes. I mean...
He's going to be the Jets quarterback.
That's because
if the Jets screw it up.
Right, exactly. The Jets need to do something.
The Jets will screw it up and draft.
Although their quarterback is still young too.
Well, Geno Smith is not the answer.
No, but I mean he's still young.
Geno Smith is just Perez.
He's still young though.
Doesn't matter. Here's the deal, and I'm sure John will agree with me on this one. When you're bad and there's no means to the end, you need to have a quick trigger. Have a quick trigger finger because we've seen it happen before. You got a crappy quarterback who they give 3, 4, 5 years to, and you're passing up on all these other good prospects potentially because you didn't realize fast enough, you didn't have the good enough staff to say, no, we screwed up. This guy's bad.
Right.
Geno Smith may be good quarterback in the National Football League at another time with another team. Jets don't have enough time or the time or the means or anything to figure it out because...
Yeah, but the Jets are bad all over. I mean,
yeah, but they have to start somewhere and get better. Unfortunately, they're going to fire Rex Ryan. I think Rex. I think he's a good coach.
I like your Rex, but
he's a good defensive coach. Good defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a good head coach. First couple of years that he was in New York, and he was benefited with a great defense. And he could hide Mark Sanchez on offense because they didn't do a great job developing Mark Sanchez. We see that now, how he's doing with the Eagles. They're fitting a game plan to his style of play, and he's blossoming. But you've got to start.
He's another one I've never liked.
You've got to start again somewhere. So, and this all goes back to the Browns talk because the Jets and the Browns are kind of on the same level. I mean, the Browns are doing a lot better than the Jets, but at some point in time, you have to say, look, we drafted Johnny Manziel with our first round pick, but Brian Hoyer's playing phenomenal. So if we put Brian Hoyer in, we're guaranteed to go 8-8.
Right.
So in the offseason, we need to find a way to win 2 more games or win 3 more games. Where do we need to get better? Do we need to give him another weapon? Do we need to get another running back? Do we have to improve our offensive line? Do we have to make our defense better? That's how
when
you build.
When you're the Jets, it's all of the above.
Well, the Jets need to start with a clean slate. Everybody wants the general manager fired.
Yeah.
But I personally think you need to give the general manager some time with his own people because what happens, and I'll ask you, Perez, what happens when a new general manager comes in? What does he do first usually?
He normally fires the whole coaching squad.
What didn't happen when he came into New York?
He didn't fire the coaching squad.
And do you know why that was?
I don't know
because the owner of the football team likes Rex Ryan.
Yeah, so do all the players.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
That is the problem.
They all cheered when they found out he was coming back.
You fire everybody. You start off with a clean slate. Get his own quarterback. Get his own coordinators. Get his own coach. And I guarantee the one guy, Jets fans are going to hate to hear this, but the one person I think, and this is again, I love this about the podcast. We've gone off on some random tangent, but
it's all right.
I'm going to make a prediction here.
Okay.
Early prediction. Rex Ryan gets fired. The new head coach of the Jets will be the defensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks.
Really?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
Huh. Maybe.
I really think so. Because the GM of the Jets used to work for the Seahawks.
Right.
And that's kind of what happens is they branch off. Now, it's not as good as the head coach of the Jaguars was with the defense, but he's still pretty damn good.
Right.
I think because of the Seattle connection, he'll come in, and then they'll make sure. The one thing you have to make sure, whenever you get an offensive coordinator as your head coach or a defensive coordinator as your head coach, you need to make sure if you're a good defensive coordinator, you have a very strong offensive coordinator.
Right.
If you're a strong offensive coordinator, make sure you have a very strong defensive coordinator because usually the offensive-minded coaches aren't really great with defense. The defensive-minded coaches aren't really great with offense.
Right.
Sometimes they are. Sometimes you get lucky. But usually, when you see it happen, it doesn't work out that way.
Exactly.
So the New York Jets need to start off with a clean slate. It may be a tough year or two. But I'll tell you what, if you rebuild the right way...
It's not going to be any tougher than it has been the last couple seasons.
If you rebuild the right way,
right,
you'll have a good football team.
Maybe. We'll see.
And you got to be patient, Jets fans. Which I know they aren't. None of them are.
That's true.
Be patient.
Yeah.
The Browns have had terrible quarterbacks for 13 years. They finally got a good one, and they're like, screw this guy, get him out. Like I said,
that's the thing. Like, you're impatient. So he's had a couple bad weeks.
The funniest thing about this whole thing, Perez, you go on Twitter and everyone's pissed off about Brian Hoyer. He's 10-5 in his Browns career. He's the only winning quarterback in the new Cleveland Browns era.
Right.
The only one.
People are stupid.
Yes.
People are stupid.
People are stupid.
Fans are stupid.
I just looked at my picture and it looked kind of sideways. It looks a little...
I don't know. What to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, man.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. Anyways, I got so heated there. I kind of blacked out and...
It's all good, bro.
Looked at my picture. I got to...
For not being a Browns fan, you do get pretty heated.
I just get heated about stupid people, Perez.
Well, there's a lot of those.
Stupid people piss me off.
There's a lot of stupid people on this planet.
Yeah.
So I live pissed off. You know.
And pissed off is not a curse word, so you've only got one curse word in the podcast.
Cool. I don't really live. I'm actually a really relaxed kind of guy.
Me too, usually.
But there's stupid people.
Sports get me heated up because I've been both ends of the spectrum. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan. I've had 3 championships in 10 years. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. The first game I ever watched was the Music City Miracle.
Oh, okay.
I'm a Buffalo Sabres fan. They're the worst team in hockey for the past 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, you're doing real good.
I'm doing phenomenal. I'm good at picking teams, okay?
You're doing real good.
Oh, and then the Red Sox had the two of their worst seasons in franchise history, coupled around a World Series victory. So,
which is weird, by the way.
It's very weird. They go from being the worst team to the best team to the worst team. Whatever. I'll take it because they get the World Series championship in the middle. I'm very comfortable with having bad teams around me. I know how it works out. But then when you get stupid fans like, fire that guy, Johnny Manziel needs to be the quarterback. Because what makes Johnny Manziel so much better than Brian Hoyer?
Nothing right now.
I'll wait.
Nothing right now. There's upside, possibly, to Johnny Manziel. But it's always,
until Brian Hoyer shows me that he cannot be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, there's no reason why he shouldn't be the quarterback.
No, I agree with you.
What happened with Buffalo Bills and E.J. Manuel? E.J. Manuel showed the coaches, showed the team, he is not the right guy for the team right now, so they took him out.
Yes.
Brian Hoyer has not done that yet. Yes, he has struggled, but look what he has around him.
Everyone struggles, though.
And look who they've been playing, too. You play
agree.
better competition, you're not going to do as well because you're not a great football team. You have to find ways to win.
Yeah.
They haven't done that.
No.
And this week, they're playing the Indianapolis Colts. It probably won't get much better. While Hoyer will probably play better because it's the line, at the time of the podcast, the line in the over-under is, I believe, 50 in Vegas for the game.
Okay.
And I don't know over-under because I'm not real good at betting. I just read an article about it because they were kind of creeped out by why something's a little weird here, but neither team has a really good defense. So
right.
They just score a lot of points. We saw that happen before where Indianapolis put up they combined 80 points or something like that with the Steelers. 80 plus points. So just, enjoy what you got because you know what's going to happen. I'll call it now. Brian Hoyer walks, okay? Johnny Manziel is the starting quarterback of Cleveland Browns next year. This time next year, Brian Hoyer's out doing something good with another team. Maybe he's in Arizona. Maybe he's got a good offensive-minded coach who can build an offensive game plan around his strengths, magnify the strengths, hide the weaknesses, have a great defense. You're 10 or 12 games, okay? But then Manziel will be in Cleveland struggling to go 4-12 or something. Everybody in Cleveland will say, well, why didn't you sign Brian Hoyer? After saying, get rid of Brian Hoyer, bring in Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you get sports fans who don't know what they got.
Yeah,
because they're spoiled because they've been bad, now they're good, and they want everything. They want the world. I think the homeowner just came home from his gallivanting around the town.
Gotcha. Yeah, that could possibly happen.
It always happens. It always. Like for instance, with baseball, with the Red Sox, Andrew Miller goes to the Yankees. Does phenomenal. Red Sox fans, I guarantee you will say at some point in time, why didn't the Red Sox sign him?
Right.
Or re-sign him, I should say. But you look at it, it's sports. It's how they work. You only want to go a certain amount on a guy.
Right.
Red Sox offered 3 and a lot of money. The Yankees offered 4 and a lot of money. What's the better deal?
4.
Especially being a relief pitcher.
4.
You go for the $36 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
So if Brian Hoyer leaves Cleveland because someone offers him a better deal...
Especially when it's guaranteed.
Exactly.
No bonuses, no just $9 million right off the bat. That's pretty.
Stupid people piss me off.
I agree with
Breaking news, everybody.
Stupid people piss me off.
Exactly. We had a segment going a little while about stupid people, but I got pissed off thinking about it. I just couldn't do it anymore. I think we did it for 2 weeks. Talked about dumb people, because the last week we talked about the 3 football players who complained about the playbook.
Yes.
You're playing a child's game and you're pissed off because you're not playing as much.
Right.
Shut up and get your paycheck.
Exactly.
I'm pissed because I got to go to work every week and work with my coworkers who may sometimes piss me off.
Right.
I don't get paid that much to do that. I have the right to be mad. But then again, you don't, because if you're mad about your job, go find another job.
I don't have that issue because my coworkers don't live near me. I'm my own boss in New York State, upstate New York. So I like my job. My job is fun.
We'll trade jobs.
No,
I'll come work with you.
Oh, I'm the only guy in this area, so you're not really going to get a paycheck. But you come hang out.
That didn't work out so well.
No.
I thought that would have worked out a little better.
Sorry.
It's okay. Moving on now. Got to calm down a little.
It's cool, man.
Going to talk about some picks. Your network, FanDuel Pick'em, Week 14. Now, Perez, last week you were leading. I think you were leading the week before, too.
Yes, I was.
You're still leading.
Yes.
Things are a little tighter, though. Myself and John, you are 87 and 44. Myself and John are 86 and 45, one game back of you. I don't think things are going to open up this week because we have all agreed on the following picks. We have Dallas over Chicago, St. Louis over Washington, the Giants over the Titans, New Orleans over Carolina, Baltimore over Miami, Houston over Jacksonville, Detroit over Tampa Bay, Indianapolis over Cleveland, Denver over Buffalo, Kansas City over Arizona, San Francisco over Oakland, the Patriots over the Chargers, and the Green Bay Packers over the Atlanta Falcons. I almost just gave myself a concussion there looking up too fast. The three games we don't agree on. Perez, you and myself have the Vikings. John has the Jets. Why? We don't know. Find out over at GearNetwork.com on the blog when I get his explanation for him via text.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cincinnati, we have Cincinnati over Pittsburgh. John has Pittsburgh. Again, why? Who knows? Pittsburgh's weird. We don't know who they are. They are not who we thought they were.
No.
Because they're one thing. They're like Two-Face. 1 week they're one thing.
Well,
the next
plus
week, the next
right now, their quarterback's injured.
Apparently. He says his wrist is not hurt, but his wrist is hurt.
Yeah.
And the defense is old as all hell, and they're falling apart again. Still. Ike Taylor came back last week and got hilariously burned on a touchdown. I can't remember whoever they played last week. Let me look really quick. Let me just scroll back. Pittsburgh last week. Oh, man. They played New Orleans. That's right. Kenny Stills was a 69-yard touchdown pass or something like that. Blew right by him. Made him look like a fool. Who knows what the Pittsburgh Steelers are? They don't even know who they are. We've said this before in the podcast. I feel like a broken record, but the last game of the week, which I need to get your on the air. Bless you. Bless you. Bless you. We're still not healthy here. Got to go back into quarantine. It's okay. It's the winter time. Almost winter time. We're sick as hell, man. John and myself have the Philadelphia Eagles, which is interesting. And then you have the Seattle
Seahawks. I do have the Seattle Seahawks.
Now, why do you have the Seattle Seahawks?
Well, it was, I thought about taking the Eagles, especially after what they did to Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. But Dallas looked lethargic. They didn't look prepared for the game. And the Eagles blew them out. The Eagles, I basically went with the Seahawks because of the Pete Carroll, Mark Sanchez connection. Pete Carroll was Mark Sanchez's coach in college. Sanchez came out before he was ready, went to the Jets, looked like a scrub. I think Seattle's defense is a much better D when they're playing on all cylinders than the Cowboys were last week. And I think they'll be able to get the mark. I think they'll intercept Mark. I think they'll have a better game against the Eagles. And I think they'll be able to parlay that into a win.
Now, the Seahawks are playing...
And I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to stop Russell Wilson.
The Seahawks are playing improved defensively. Their offense has been okay all season on and off, but they've got, I think they're 8-4 right now. But the defense is really what has improved, and that's what kind of was their Achilles heel earlier in the season. They weren't gelling at all. But I have it factored in the amount of plays that the Philadelphia Eagles, play on offense. They're a very fast-paced, fast-tempo offense. Seattle has to travel cross-country.
Yeah,
and that usually never works out good. I mean, the good teams find ways to win football games, no matter where they are, no matter what they do.
Well, Pete Carroll knows Mark Sanchez. He'll be able to game plan for Mark Sanchez.
That could be it, but then again, like I said, I just think with the offensive tempo, they were able to. They snuffed out Dallas. I mean, they were playing on 3 days rest. It was a bad situation.
Yes,
that's why they were able to beat Dallas so handily because they were just running plays. And Dallas was on the sideline, had oxygen.
They were.
That's madness. But I think Philadelphia will be able to parlay, as you said, parlay this into a victory just because they're going to use their strengths to their advantage, and they're going to be able to. They're going to try to hit Seattle where it hurts, and
right.
I mean, for you too, you need to root for Seattle to win because if Philadelphia wins this game, it's almost impossible for. I mean, there's multiple scenarios, but it's logically it seems difficult for Dallas to make the playoffs.
Well, no, they can make the playoffs. They won't win the East, but they'll make the playoffs as a wild card.
Go on after we're done with the podcast. Go on ESPN and go mess with the playoff matchup thing. If I'm not mistaken, and I could be because I was messing with that at work. Did a bunch of different scenarios. If Seattle beats Philadelphia, Dallas has a chance. If Philadelphia beats Seattle, it's going to be very tough because Dallas has already lost the game to Philadelphia the first time. So even if Philly and Dallas split, the tiebreaker is the first tiebreaker is based on that, which would be 1-1. So then it goes to something else.
Yeah.
But Dallas already beat Seattle, right? Dallas beat Seattle. Yeah, because I remember that. That was when we all misunderstood. So if Seattle beats, it helps. It makes more sense.
Right. Well, Dallas, I mean, even if they don't make the playoffs this year, that'll be bad because this will be the first year, like in 10 years.
First year in 3 years.
3 years. No, it's been longer than that.
Well, first year in 3 years, they've won 9 games.
Yeah, but we've been 8-8 forever, so it's nice. We're going to be above 500, but right now we're in the playoffs. If there's a whole bunch of teams that have pretty similar records.
I'm gonna go mess with it later, and I will make sure to text you and get back to you on that. But there's
When Mark Sanchez left college, Pete Carroll was his coach.
Yes.
Did you ever see that press conference?
I think
it was quite humorous because
I think I have.
They kind of sat like at a picnic table. There was really nothing behind them. Pete Carroll literally said he's not ready. I don't think he should leave. And then he walked off. Like, that was it. The next year...
Well, we saw that, too, when he came to the league. I mean...
He wasn't ready. Pete Carroll was correct.
USC quarterbacks haven't been ready in years.
No, but the last one who decided to stay, they did a press conference where he announced he was going to stay. And there was like a Christmas tree. They were all in suits. They were like at a nice table.
Yep.
It was much different than what they did with Sanchez. Yep. It was hilarious. So I think Pete Carroll knows Mark, and I think he'll be able to get in his head.
He might be able to. But then again, it might be the student beating the master.
Maybe. But
it's going to be a damn good football game.
I think it'll be a good game.
Either way. I'm actually going to be at my friend's house tomorrow, watching one of my good friends. He's an Eagles fan.
Eagles.
So it's going to be.
I don't like the Eagles.
A lot of fun to watch. Well, naturally, that's like you saying you don't like the Red Sox. Perez. You don't like the Eagles.
I don't like
the Red Sox. You don't like.
I don't like the Steelers.
You don't like the Sun.
I love the Sun. I'm Puerto Rican.
You don't like dogs. You don't like small children.
I have 2 dogs.
You're just ruining the narrative now.
Sorry, dude. I like small children too. I can't stand.
I'm just gonna edit that last part out.
I can't stand the Boston Red Sox.
I know.
I can't stand.
That's what makes this podcast so much better because during the baseball season, we're gonna spew hate back at each other. That's why we need the Red Sox and Yankees to be good.
Right.
I have not talked crap to you about baseball in a while because there's been nothing to talk about.
No, nothing.
Speaking of nothing to talk about, we're going to send it to commercial break.
So,
now.
I'm up on the Pick'ems by 1.
Yes, and I'm going to send it to commercial break because we ran out of things to talk about football. We talked a lot about football. We yelled a lot about football. You're leading the Pick'ems by 1. If you win, you get a trophy. I think I'm going to mention it to you on a podcast. I know John will listen, I know he listens. I'm not even going to call out and say he doesn't, because I know he does, because we talk about the podcast.
It was his birthday yesterday, by the way.
Was.
Happy belated.
Happy belated birthday, John. Happy 21st birthday, John. I said it to him on
21st?
Yeah.
He wishes.
Well, because, when people start to get older, you say, what's your birthday? Say, I'm 21 today. So
right.
That's all that matters.
I understand.
Happy 21st birthday. Trying to be a smart ass.
I understand.
Because I don't want to be like, hey, you're old.
Why not? If you're old, you're old.
Well, yeah, but, I want to...
I'm older than everybody.
I'm trying to have fun with it, okay? But, I'm thinking that, I haven't talked to John about this yet, so this is an exclusive.
Being in first place, by the way, Pick'em is pretty nice, seeing as that I was not in first place for quite some time.
You did pretty bad. The first week you kind of face planted, and then like, I'll come back. But I'm thinking, I don't know if we should do postseason. Where like if you get like we'll at the end of the season we'll tally it up, and then like if you get this, it's worth 2, or this is worth 3. Right. We'll talk about it because I want to end it at the end of the regular season, but then again, if we're having fun with it, we got to go all the way.
I want that trophy.
We got to get a trophy.
We get that trophy.
I think it's like $10 to get a trophy.
We should get one for the pick'ems.
We're gonna get a pick'em trophy.
Then like every year we'll just
get new ones.
Right.
Yeah, sounds good to me. We'll have like a pick'em,
or we get like one, like a territory bowl type of thing,
like a traveling trophy.
Yeah, and then whoever wins the next year, it goes to them.
By the way, I gotta add something really quick. The Buffalo Bills, that Manziel play, I was already gonna win my fantasy football game, but I won. You know, I was gonna have more points, but I don't even care. I love the Bills defense. Helped me out last week. I went from third with no automatic bye to first with an automatic bye, and the easier matchup in the second week, which made up being John, who's at 6th seed, who only did good because Tony Romo and DeMarco Murray did good.
Well, yeah, that's
and then,
good.
You know, next week they don't have such a good matchup, so I'm hoping if John wins, it'll be easy. But let me just preface this with hashtag nobody cares. Nobody cares about my fantasy football league, but I got to mention it because it's awesome.
I tanked this year. I finished like 4-9, so I started out good, and then all my people got hurt and I went to crap on a stick. Hey, I think we should have the listeners tell us what kind of trophy we should have.
Well, I can get a horse's ass. I can get a toilet bowl.
Well, I mean, should we have one that's like we get a new one every year, or should we have a traveling one where the winner gets to keep it for the entire year until the next season, and then he has to hand it off? And here's what we'll do: if I win this year, right, whoever gets the trophy, you got to put my name on it. And then next year, let's say you win, I got to take the trophy to the trophy shop and get a plaque. My name first, initial, and then I got to get your name engraved on it.
I'll have to find...
So it keeps running.
The website I go through has traveling trophies like that, so we'll have to go look some up, and it'll probably cost, $15 or $20.
I don't care about that.
We can do it.
So,
we got to do it.
What do you think, listeners?
Yeah, tell us on Twitter.
Hit us up on Twitter.
You know all our Twitter feeds, our Facebook feeds, our Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Tinder, whatever.
We got it all.
What the hell is... I don't even know. I'm not even on Tinder, but...
I'm not, because that's like a dating website, and I don't think my wife would appreciate that.
No. No, she would probably not like that too much, but...
Probably not.
This segment has gone very long.
Sorry.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a podcast. We do what we want.
That's what we do.
We're grown-ass men, okay?
Right.
But,
so
coming
commercial.
back on a Better Live Than Dead podcast, we're going to wrap it up, take it home, talk some more about some stuff, and we'll see you...
in a couple of seconds.
After
this commercial break.
Right after this commercial break.
Are you a fantasy sports player? If yes, FanDuel is for you. A 1-week fantasy sports season where you draft new teams each week with a chance to instantly earn money. Also, FanDuel will match your first deposit up to $200. Sign up through Gear Network at gearnetwork.com/FanDuel and help keep the Gear Network podcast free. Again, that's gearnetwork.com/FANDUEL. Do you enjoy listening to Better Live Than Dead, but you're not always by your laptop to hear it on gearnetwork.com? Not to worry, we've got you covered. Better Live Than Dead and all other Gear Network podcasts can now be heard on iHeartRadio, iTunes, in the Zune Marketplace, on SoundCloud, Spreaker, Stitcher Radio, and on TuneIn Radio. So make sure you get one of the aforementioned apps to stay up to date with the latest Gear Network podcasts.
Out of all the reindeer, you know you're the mastermind. Run, Rudolph, Santa coming far behind.
Time to close up shop here at the Better Live Than Dead podcast.
Hey, congratulations. You didn't say we're back.
No. And by the way, I'm going to do something here because we don't record. We record live, but we don't. I put everything in afterwards.
Right.
I'm going to say, if I remember this correctly, the bumper for this pre-commercial was awesome because it's going to be a heavy metal Christmas song. Because it's December, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to have some fun. Well, it's not heavy metal, but it's Lemmy and Billy Gibbons and Dave Grohl and Run Run Rudolph.
Really?
Oh, so much. So good.
Interesting.
And then coming up here shortly, Real Big Fish will be having a Happy Skaladays record coming out. So I'm gonna.
Is ska still relevant?
Oh God, yeah.
Really?
Real Big Fish is awesome.
People still listen to ska?
Shut the f*** up, okay?
Dude, I remember listening to ska when I was a teenager.
Are you making fun of me?
No, I'm not making fun of you.
I mean that in most
I'm glad that ska still.
It is.
Around.
I thought you were coming at me, bro.
No.
With some stuff, okay? I have to do some editing. I've
listened to ska.
I've let some curse words fly today. I'm feeling good. The blood's flowing. We're back in the podcast, back in the saddle again, if I may say so. We've been sitting here talking for well over an hour and a half now. I mean, not on the podcast, on and off air, we've been talking. But I just want to say, first off, thank you to health, to science, for allowing us to be here today. We're here in the chairs, in the podcast, in the studio, talking a lot. Thank you, Perez, for being here today.
Thank you.
I'm glad
for having me.
Glad to have you, glad to be here, glad to talk, glad to podcast. Happy birthday again to John. Thank you for making the podcast happen. I need to take a nap. I need it's like those movies.
Dude,
it's I'm just like, you watch a movie and then the guy sleeps with a chick and he's smoking a cigarette. That's what I feel like right now.
Is that what you feel
like?
I
just like release the valve. I just am spent.
That's a really weird.
I just did a lot of yelling and I got a lot. My brain is cleared from the sports. I'm sports. My brain is empty. It's awesome. I love it.
That's still a weird.
Shut up.
Because it's us in a room.
Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. Thank you to listeners for tuning in each and every week and listening to our random, insane musings about sports, life, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, all those great stories that Perez always has.
I got to tell you.
It's either a history lesson or a story. We got to have something like that in the podcast every week. It's like Perez's Corner, like I said before at one point in time.
We can do that. It'll be fun.
Be a lot of fun. I love learning about all your exploits from past times in life. It's always interesting too. But thank you again for joining us on the Better Live Than Dead podcast. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Welcome to December. Christmas is a few weeks away. Hose, right? Or something like that. I don't know. I'm losing my goddamn mind.
Is that what you want?
But sure, that's what I want for Christmas. Satan Claus. Have a great day. Have a great week. Thank you again for tuning in here on the Better Live Than Dead podcast. We will talk to you again. Same time, same place. We are Better Live Than Dead. You are not.
You're not. Adios.
Have a good one, my friends.